Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's your main man, Uncle Freezy. What's good? What's good? What's good? How y'all doing out there? All right. So it's late on a Sunday night. It's late on a Sunday night. I I was up working on channel stuff and I decided to jump on and hang out for a little bit. Talk some Met stuff, right? Talk some Met stuff. Um Briefly. Y'all know I'm a huge Mets fan. I'm a huge Knicks fan, so I was up preparing some stuff for vibes and stuff and for um Lawrence Tears. And so let me do this really quick. Rocking on let's go Mets. All right. Post that there. All right, let me get back here and do this. All right. All right. So we're okay. So we're good on Twitter. We're good on Twitch. And we are good on YouTube. So I'm trying to figure something out. I got the news. I got the news about Liam Hendricks. And I want to go back. I'm going to go back and see if I can find the article. Let's see if I can find it for everybody. Let me see if I can find the joint. All right, so Liam Hendricks was diagnosed with cancer earlier. So Liam Hendricks was diagnosed with cancer earlier. That's sad, man. And so from a human's perspective, I hate to hear that from from Liam Hendricks. I hope everything goes well. In this world of shock jocks and trolls and people behaving badly, I want to express some type of empathy to a man that I don't know. And I'm sure he'll never even see this. But I want to put good vibes out in the atmosphere for Liam Hendricks. Is my camera shaky? So it looks like my camera was shaky, but whatever. I'll probably figure something out with this camera. It's a little something, something. But anyways, so Liam Hendricks has some type of cancer. I don't know what, but as somebody who has dealt with cancer, cancer is always a tough topic to talk about for me because it's been around me, and I'm not a I hate cancer. So let me just say that. So for the Liam Hendricks thing, I'm saddened by it. I hope that brother, is able to overcome it. I hope, and I hope everything is easy for him. I know it won't be, but in terms of him getting over it, I'm hoping that the healing process happens as expeditiously as possible. Right now, with that said, as a Mets fan, and this is not an easy transition, but I have to transition and pivot. I'm hoping that the Mets find an alternative while Liam Hendricks recovers from this unfortunate event. So let me get this Lawrence Tears thing off the screen. Let me get Lawrence Tears thing off the screen. All right, let me move that Lawrence Tears thing off the screen. So, what are the Mets' alternatives now that Liam Hendricks may not be available? Are we okay going into the season with what we have? Are the Mets going to be okay going into the season with what we have? Corey Smith is in the building. Hey, Smitty, look. Hey, this is gonna be fun, bro. I like this Mets channel already. We do a lot of everybody know we do a lot of Nick stuff, but I really like this Mets space. It's a lot of passionate Mets fans out there that want to have conversations like this, and so I kind of really like this Mets space. During the week, most of the week, man, I do the Knicks Morning Drive, the Knicks at Night podcast, and all that stuff, man. Talk Knicks. But this right here to me is fun. Also, just chopping it up, starting a Mets channel from scratch, starting a Mets channel from scratch, where we could build up a community. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a challenge. So, I was speaking to Hoodie Kev before we jumped on, and Hoodie Kev likes to talk me to death about stuff like Jets and um miraculous Mets additions. But my thing is, now that Liam Hendricks is sick, how do the Mets pivot? How do the Mets pivot from here? Like, what's the move? Who do they go after now? Is there a guy out there? Is there a guy out there that the Mets can go get in place of the Liam Hendricks thing that didn't necessarily go our way? So let me see here. I'm gonna use I'm gonna find a free agent tracker, right? I'm gonna use a free agent tracker to see if there are any relievers out here that we can maybe find. Huh. Okay. Andrew Chafin is out there. Michael Fulmer is out there. Chad Green, Danny Duffy, Garrett Richards, Matt Whistler, David Phelps, Matt Moore. There's a specific name that I'm looking for out here. Jose Alvarez. Archie Bradley is out there. Okay. There's a specific name I'm looking for. Aroldis Chapman. So Aroldis Chapman is a free agent. That is the name that I had been looking for. So Mets fans, would you consider Aroldis Chapman as a consolation prize in the bullpen since Liam Hendriks may no longer be available? We know who Aroldis Chapman is. Aroldis Chapman is the left-handed Cuban, throws about 1,000 miles per hour. He basically throws about 100. His secondary pitches have been not perfect lately. Aroldis Chapman has been touchable lately, but when he's right, he is a top 5 reliever in the game, and he's a lefty. Are you guys okay with us looking at an Aroldis Chapman type player as a consolation prize since Liam Hendriks may not be available? And I'm not even going to lie to you. I would look to explore an Aroldis Chapman signing. I like maybe even a Will Smith. Brad Hand is still available. Robert Gsellman from the Cubs, and I know he's a Met. I know Gsellman is a Met, right? Darren O'Day is out there. Juelis Yassin is still out there. Carl Edwards is still out there. The skinny dude from South Carolina. He's out there, the fireballer. Jerry's Familia is out there. What about a homecoming for Jerry's Familia? Sergio Romo's old behind is still out there. Hansel Romo, Joe Smith, Zach Britton. So there are a lot of relief pitching options out there that are just arms. Would you consider those guys a free agent or two over a trade for an established reliever? And if you choose an established reliever from another team that's on a roster, who is that guy and what are you willing to pay for him? What are we willing to pay for these established guys or the guys that already have a home? That's one of the things that I want to talk to you about. Right? That's one of the things I want to talk about. Now, here's the other thing. So the Carlos Correa thing. So I don't know if you believe in the Jim Bowden thing, the article that's been the info from Jim Bowden from MLB. They're saying that this Carlos Correa thing is basically over. That Correa will be a Met. I don't know how much you buy into that. I really don't buy into it. Honestly, as a New York sports fan, I'm over the contract negotiations, agents, talent acquisition stuff. Either you do it or you don't. I'm already sour on the Carlos Correa thing. Right? Because I went through the Donovan Mitchell thing during the summer with the Knicks. So I'm already over it. I'm already basically saying either get him or let him walk. I'm already over it. While I like Carlos Correa and I do like a 291 batting average with 20 home runs and about 70 RBIs, I'm not getting ready to lose my mind over it. Jeff McNeil batted 326, and sure, he had under 10 home runs, but we have the MLB batting leader. We already have the best infield, the best offensive infield in baseball right now, in my opinion, even over St. Louis. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. I feel like we already have the best offensive infield in baseball, even without Carlos Correa. So when we look to add Carlos Correa, or if we don't, I think the Mets are still in good hands. I like Francisco Lindor. I like Jeff McNeil. I like Pete Alonso, right? I do like Carlos Correa. But at some point, you either have to dance or get off the dance floor. At some point, you have to dance or get off the dance floor. So Jim Bowden says, man, the deal is basically done. It's last minute touch ups, man, that have to be done. And what I find in this space is that we always get bombarded with information, or we always have information that we need, right? But at the same time, doesn't always mean the information that we get is always pinpoint or absolutely the most accurate. Right? It's not always the most accurate. My question is not the Correa thing. Because I think the Mets can find a third baseman that can give them about 265, about 15 home runs, about 60 RBIs. I think they could find that guy. I think between and trust me, I'm not bashing Correa because I want Correa. But what I'm saying is whether the Mets get Correa or not, I think the Mets are going to be able to find offense. My thing is, about halfway through January, it puts us behind the 8 ball a little bit. Because a lot of this stuff you would like to have seen done before Christmas. A lot of it you would like to have seen before Christmas. Right? A lot of it. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing with the options. Here's the thing with the options. Now that the White Sox thing may not be a thing, Eloy Jimenez may be off the table. So what do you do at DH now? I just don't trust Vogelback as an everyday DH. Right? I just don't like. I don't feel comfortable with Daniel Vogelback as a DH. Not on a championship contender. Not on a championship contender. And I want to go to right now. I'm searching for the Mets stats so that I can talk about Daniel Vogelback. So Daniel Vogelback with us. Wow, Daniel Vogelback is listed as 6', 270. Nothing can be further from the truth. Nothing can be further from the truth. Right? Daniel Vogelback as a Met batted 255 this season as a Met. Not bad. 255 wasn't bad. 6 home runs, 25 RBIs, and 149 at bats. So it's not bad. Daniel Vogelback had 38 hits, 9 doubles, 6 home runs, 47 strikeouts out of 149 at bats. That's not bad. That's not bad. But for a DH, though, the DH position, you would love a hitter in that spot. You want you want a real hitter in that spot. You want a pure hitter in that spot. A guy that can mash. You want a raker in that spot, ideally. Ideally, you want a raker in that spot. Right? And is Daniel Vogelback that guy? Ideally, in that spot and as a DH, you prefer a left-handed power bat that can hit for average. You'd like a left-handed power bat in that DH spot that could flat out rake, right? A guy that can hit lefties, right? That's what you prefer, right? You'd prefer a left-handed power bat, to counter to kind of be the support for Carlos Correa and Pete Alonso. Because the top part of the lineup is going to take care of itself. Right? The top part of the lineup, regardless of how you see it, whether it's Nimmo, McNeil, Lindor, Marte, whatever 4 you put into that mix at the top of the lineup, they're going to be okay. right? In terms of the DH position, though, I think ideally you'd prefer to have that power bat in the lineup, that threat. Now, the options are limited and unlimited at the same time. The options are limited and unlimited at the same time, which is weird, but it's whatever. The options are limited and unlimited at the same time. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. How much faith do we have in the young guys? Do we have faith enough in the young guys to even consider them options for DH at bats? It's a question that we have to answer here shortly because before you know it, pitchers and catchers are going to be reporting. JJ in the building. What's good, JJ? What's good, man? And JJ says he don't know. He don't think that we can count on these kids, right? On a win now team. And my man, I'm absolutely with you. I'm absolutely with you. I'm absolutely with you. However, I do believe that you have to explore all the options available to you. For instance, can these kids hit? Yes, they can hit. Can you count on them to hit? No. No. Can they hit? Yes. Can you count on them to be that? No. Right? I think you want what you want to do is have them build confidence in each other. Have them prove it to you that they can do it. And then that way we'll be able to count on them situationally. At the same time, at the same time, I think the DH spot has to be addressed. Daniel Vogelback was 255 with 6 home runs, right? And in a limited sample size. In a limited sample size. Right? Darren Ruff was awful. Nick Plummer, come on. We carried Terrence Gore last year. Why? Khalil Lee is probably a goner. Tyler Naquin. What are we doing? JD Davis. What are we doing out here? And JJ says something, and he's spot on. JJ says if we don't get Correa, there's going to be added pressure on the youngsters. And I agree. I agree. I agree. But the thing is, there were going to be pressure on those kids regardless. They were gonna. Brett Beatty was probably gonna be in the lineup somewhere between third base and left field, and Alvarez is gonna get at bats as a DH and catcher. Alvarez is too good not to get time, and Beatty is ready. Vientos is ready. These three youngsters may make the opening day roster. Ironically, we don't have young pitching to go with them. And the Mets had a lot of clutch moments this past season. A lot of clutch moments. The Mets had a lot of clutch moments this past season. And so winning 101 games, I'm not going to say was a miracle, but we got as much juice from the squeeze as possible. We got as much juice from the squeeze as possible. To win 101 games with Vogelback at DH, with Escobar, JD Davis at third, some Luis Guillorme at third, some Mazika, Nito, McCann behind the plate was crazy. But JJ, let me ask you this. Would you entertain a trade for Salvador Perez? So, chat, I'm asking the chat this. Would you entertain the thought of a trade for Salvador Perez since maybe the Eloy Jimenez thing may be off the table? Right? And I know what you guys are thinking. Like, well, Uncle Freezy, what are you going to give up in order to get a Salvador Perez? Well, you already know what you're going to have to give up. You're going to have to give up either Beatty or Vientos, and maybe Mauricio. You have to give up prospects for the next 2 full seasons of Salvador Perez. But in Salvador Perez, you'll have one heck of a number 7 hitter, a good defender behind the plate, and an Iron Man. And when the Salvi Perez era is over, the Alvarez era begins. I would say I like Ronnie Mauricio. Corey Smith, I'm with you. If we in win now mode, bro, go get him. I would consider the Salvador Perez move to be like the Sandy Alomar Jr. move back in the day. Like, go get a Iron Man catcher that can hit, defend, and stay healthy, and handle elite pitching staffs. Go get them. Because the thing is you're not going to be able to play Vientos or Mauricio. Vientos is a first base DH, and you're not going to be able to play him at first base for obvious reasons. Right. And the thing about it is the thing about the JJ, to your question, right? If we're in win now mode, why are they worried about being hurt down the road? The thing about that is this. Being in win now mode and not winning hurts you down the road. Because ultimately signing Carlos Correa means because what happened is, and guys, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. So before or during the David Wright, Jose Reyes era, the Mets did not have Okay, so I got two thoughts. So during the David Wright, Jose Reyes era, for one, the Mets could not find third basemen and shortstops for years. For years, the Mets could not find offensive shortstops, right? For years, right? They could not find offensive shortstops, right? Because it was weird because if they could do one thing, they couldn't do another, right? Like for instance, Wilmer Flores could hit. Wilmer Flores had power, but he couldn't defend. Ruben Tejada could do all those things, probably was more physically gifted than Jose Reyes, but didn't have the work ethic. Right? Yeah, I remember Ruben Tejada. He got his leg broke by Chase Utley on a slide. They made the rule after that because of Ruben Tejada. And third base, you saw Daniel Murphy's, Daniel Evans, Justin Turner's guys come through that were kind of second base, third base. You didn't know second base, third base, whatever. Daniel Evans wound up being a left fielder, I think, and wound up being out of the system. So for years, the Mets couldn't find like heir apparents to David Wright and Jose Reyes. So what they did during drafting is overloaded for that position. Right? They overloaded, they overdid it for that position because they couldn't find it. And so I think, yes, they took the strategy. Well, what we'll do is find the law of averages, basically. Get so many guys that eventually somebody will have to pan out. And so about 3 years ago, you saw a glut of third base, shortstop prospects coming up through the system. And y'all know who they are. Y'all remember who they are. JJ, y'all remember Dilson Herrera? Remember Dilson Herrera? No? Our prize second base prospect. We traded him to the Reds for Jay Bruce, I think. So we had a prize prospect at second base shortstop, Dilson Herrera. We wound up giving him up for Jay Bruce. Yeah. And y'all remember and Angel Jimenez. And y'all remember Ahmad Rosario. And y'all remember Luis Guillorme. And y'all remember Jeff McNeil. Right? And y'all remember Ronnie Mauricio, who was at the time probably 17, 18 years old. So the Mets had a glut of shortstop middle infield prospects. Dilson Herrera, Angel Jimenez, who, by the way, we probably thought was our infield of the future, right? We didn't know what to make of Ahmad Rosario because he was a big shortstop. We didn't know if he could stay at shortstop because he was so big. And he did wind up staying. Ahmed Rosario. Right? So you're looking at the Dilson Herreras, the Angel Jimenez, the Ahmed Rosarios, the Luis Guillormes, the Jeff McNeils. So all of a sudden we had a glut because after David Wright and Jose Reyes, we had nothing. Right? And what I'm saying, and basically what I'm getting at is now we have a glut and we also have it blocked. Because at the moment we're signing all-stars at the major league level because the ownership has changed. And now instead of the Wilpons wanting to build us like the Pittsburgh Pirates, Uncle Steve has come in and was like, make it rain. Make it rain. One ownership wanted to build this team like the Tampa Bay Rays. The other ownership wants us to be the New York Yankees. And so now what does that do? What does that mean for our prospects like Ronnie Mauricio? When he was signed 6 years ago, he was a skinny shortstop with tons of pop in his bat. Right? Hey, JJ, I see a question. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. And so Hoodie Cab says, who's this guy, Hoodie Cab? Hoodie Cab says, does this guy have on Jet stuff in that picture? You want the kids to play and not spend money? No, listen to what I'm saying. Listen. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm speaking to a circumstance because I want to get to a point. The point that I'm getting at is now this system has a glut of talent that is on the way, that's undeniable MLB talent. Maurice Mauricio is going to be a player. Brett Beatty is going to be a player. Mark Vientos is going to be a player. Alex Ramirez, every time I see him, I think Carlos Beltran. Right? Francisco Alvarez, think about all these prospects that the Wilpons invested in this thing, in this strategy years ago, is coming to fruition today, but now the infield is blocked. And I'm assuming Correa is going to sign, right? Now the infield is blocked with 4 potential National League All-Stars. Now the infield is blocked with 4 potential All-Stars. right? All of these dudes have made the all-star team already. Pete, McNeil, Lindor, Correa. These dudes are all-star caliber players. My deal is this. My deal is with that is this. Not only are the triple A studs, right? But they're also guys behind this group. And so Hoodie Kev says, is that what we're doing? Complaining about having all-star level talent and no room for kids? No, that's not what we're doing. You got to listen, Hoodie Kev. That's not what we're doing. We're just stating facts first. And then we'll open up. I want to open up your mind to a possibility. Who complains about having talent? Hoodie Kev, who complains about having talent? Think about that. Nobody. Says nobody ever. Says nobody ever, right? And so here's the thing. The reason why I brought this up is because you're going to have all these kids and you're not going to have room for them at the major league level. So why not look to make a move for Bryan Reynolds? Why not look to make a move for a Bryan Reynolds type guy to add to the outfield? Right? Why not? Why not look to package some of these kids for Salvador Perez? Why not go all the way in on a championship? The only two prospects that are totally off the books for me are Alvarez and Ramirez. Everybody else I would consider moving them. Beatty, Vientos, Mauricio, Allen, Parada, Jet Williams, all these kids, I would entertain a trade for an elite outfielder right now. All of them I would consider. I would trade these kids for a elite catcher. No, JJ, under no circumstances am I trading Alvarez or Ramirez. Under no circumstances. Under no circumstances. I would, however, entertain the thought. I'll give you an example. I would entertain the thought of trading Mauricio and Parada right now to the Toronto Blue Jays for Lourdes Gurriel. For the Gurriel kid. Let me see. Let me look at his numbers before I go all the way in. Let me. Lourdes Gurriel plays for the. Oh my God! Why did y'all stop me? Lourdes Gurriel didn't play for the Blue Jays last year. He plays for the Diamondbacks now. Gurriel plays for the Arizona Diamondbacks right now. Oh my God! How did we not go get him? In 121 games played last year, he had 5 home runs. Okay. No, well, maybe not. Maybe I won't do that. Maybe I won't do that. Hoodie Kev, stop trolling. Hoodie Kev, stop trolling. Hoodie Kev is a troll. All right. So maybe I wouldn't do the Lourdes Gurriel thing. Lourdes Gurriel plays for the Diamondbacks now. Sorry, y'all. My bad. My mistake. My mistake. My mistake. My mistake, y'all. Yeah, my mistake. I gotta keep up with the Blue Jays better. Because Teoscar Hernandez is going also. But what I'm getting at is I definitely have to upgrade Mark Canha. Hoodie Kev, there's your answer. There's your answer, Hoodie Kev. Is there and Corey Smith is right. The question was answered before you asked it, Hoodie Kev. You know this. You know this. And Hoodie Kev says every team needs a glue guy like Canha. No, every team needs a strong arm in left field. Every team needs good defense in left field, and if not, it's got to be an outstanding offensive guy. Right? You got to have either an outstanding offensive guy or a really good defensive guy in left. And JJ says Canha doesn't do it for me. No power and a noodle for an outfield arm. Yep. Yep. Mark Canha is But I would say this though. I would say this. If you're gonna have all of these kids and they're gonna be blocked in AAA, why not go get an upgrade? How about Brian Reynolds? I'm certain Brian Reynolds is still with Pittsburgh. And while Brian Reynolds is a really good player, all-star level, he knocked in 27. He hit 27 home runs, 62 RBIs, 250 total bases, right? He struck out 141 times. He batted 262. What I would say about Hoodie Kev, listen, you gotta buy into this this Pittsburgh outfielder Brian Reynolds. I don't know if you've done research on him, because as sports fans, we generally know a lot, but sometimes, we don't know exactly what certain guys can do. But this guy, Brian Reynolds from Pittsburgh, he's a decent player, bro. Hoodie Kev, what I'm saying is this kid, Brian Reynolds, he's a decent player, bro. He's a decent player. And what happens is if you go get a Brian Reynolds, Hoodie Kev, now you have three guys in the outfield that are basically center fielder types. So if you add Brian Reynolds, think about it. If you go out and get a Brian Reynolds, say for instance you give Pittsburgh Vientos and Mauricio for Brian Reynolds. Now you can move Starling Marte, the old man. Now you can move the old man to left field, right? You move the old man to left field, less work. You could put Starling Marte in left field and keep him healthy, right? You can use Reynolds in right, and now you have in theory an elite defense in the outfield. What does your defense look like on the infield though? If you put Brian Reynolds in right and go with Marte, Nemo, and Reynolds in the outfield, then what does your infield defense look like? Right? And then trade your other young prospects, the ones that are not going to get everyday playing time at the major league level. You trade a couple of them for Salvador Perez. And I know this sounds like fantasy baseball, but this is the hot stove time of year. And this is the time of year when you have these type of conversations. It's hot stove time. And so JJ says, I'm using Brett Beatty in left. And we get Correa. So then what do you do with Mark Canha? Is Mark Canha your everyday DH? And so Hoodie Cab says, even though you don't believe in McNeil, who said that? Hoodie Cab, don't do that. Who said that? Who said that I don't believe in McNeil? Furnish your evidence. You have 3 gold glove caliber defenders on the infield. I never said that I don't believe in McNeil. That's not true. That's not true. I never said that. All right. Here's the other thing. Here's the thing. I know the Mets need depth, right? In the outfield. But in terms of a fourth outfielder, I don't want it to be a prospect, right? I want the fourth outfielder to be a veteran utility guy that can play all 3 outfield positions. So if I'm you know what? Let me put, you know what I hadn't done since I've been doing the channel, the Mets channel? I've been talking, but I hadn't put the link in the chat yet. Let me put the link in the chat. So that's my first time putting the link in the chat on all Met stuff. I want to kind of pat myself on the back, man. That's an accomplishment. So I put the link in the chat. So there it is. The link is in the chat for if you know, for those that respectfully, those that are going to be respectful to the chat, and those that just want to come up and kick it and hang out and whatever, you know, for the next few minutes or so, so that we could talk this baseball talk. But JJ, you had a question that I wanted to get to. And the question is, how confident are you in the starting rotation? So guys, how confident are y'all in the starting rotation? How confident are y'all in the Mets starting rotation? Beyond Verlander and Scherzer and Kodai Senga, how confident are you in the Mets rotation? I want to know what y'all think about that. I don't know if I have a thought on that or not. Give you an example, I really like Jose Butto. I don't think he's the guy yet, though. I like Cookie Carrasco. I like Joe Lucchesi. I like Tyler McGill. I like David Peterson. I like Jose Quintana. I like Scherzer. I like Senga. I like Verlander. Oh boy. Hey, sir.
You know, Uncle Crazy,
How you doing?
I know there's not that many people watching right now, but you know, you can go back in time and watch these videos. And what I refuse to let you do is to scroll
So what happened? Your audio went out. Your audio went out. There it is.
accidentally click the mute button. You
That
know,
was the Mets universe clicking that button.
you see, here's the thing. We all know that Brian, well, you and I know that Brian Reynolds is my pet project.
He can't be
I,
your pet project. He's a pirate.
you know that I have wanted Brian Reynolds this entire offseason.
So what are you willing to give up for him? Are you willing to trade the kids for Brian Reynolds? Yes or no?
You know that I'll trade the kids quick, fast, and hurry. You the one that wants to hang on to them, not get Correa.
No, I
Want to
didn't.
play
No,
nothing
no,
but the
no, I
kids.
didn't.
Like this
No,
is
I
the
didn't.
Kansas City Royals.
I never said any of that stuff. I never said I didn't want Carlos Correa. I said I'm getting frustrated about how long it's taking to get Carlos Correa. Did I not? Did I not say that?
Here's the thing, and I want to be very clear when I say this, so we can have this on record going
This
forward
is
in the
Coke
future.
Zero Sugar, by the way.
You might as well drink water.
I may as well just throw this can out the window. But moving on, okay.
So here's the thing, right? So
Man, that place is nice. Are you in a hotel?
no, definitely
That
not.
place is beautiful in the background. What is that?
It's a
A
living room.
mansion?
Gosh, what? It's too many walls for that.
Yeah, aside for the hats on the joint, yeah.
Yeah.
Thought it was okay. Anyway.
So here's and I want this to be on record. Everyone knows me from Knicks at Night and Blowing Tears, and the Knicks have been my heart and soul for so many years.
What year did you become a Mets fan?
A Mets fan?
Mets. METS. Mets.
97? 98. 98. I'll say 98. No, 97. It was 97. So
The
I've been a Mets
year the
fan.
Florida Marlins won the World Series. You became a Mets fan.
Yes, 97.
Okay.
So it's been 26 years
Okay.
now. With that being said, this is the first time
I've been a Mets fan since 1973.
I was probably not even thought of. My mother was probably playing jump rope in the backyard.
Since 1973. That's 50 years, bro.
That's a long time.
I was a baby. I remember, bro, I'm serious. Hardcore Mets fan. When I was little, and I'm going somewhere with this, right? JJ, I'm going somewhere with this, right? I'm not bragging. I'm telling you that people need to be compassionate for me because during that time, the Mets have been a grease fire for 50 years. All the ups and downs. We're almost there. Hey, Hoodie Cav, listen, trust me. Man, listen, I've been around for too long. I remember, I think I was 12 years old when the Mets had the #1 pick in the draft, and they took Darryl Strawberry, a skinny kid, #1, who was a shortstop / center fielder, right? They were like, he's too tall. He's too tall to play shortstop, but he's a great athlete. He was on the basketball team, all these different things. And he started to fill out. Before Ken Griffey Jr., Darryl Strawberry had the prettiest left-handed swing you ever saw in your life. Right? Before this kid, Ken Griffey Jr., the Darryl Strawberry standing in the box, rocking. Yes. So what I'm saying to you is, this. I've been around, Hoodie Kev, for those moments when the Mets could have traded prospects to go get a guy and didn't, and wound up finishing 3rd in the division because they collapsed late because the kids didn't pan out.
That's what you want, Uncle Freezy.
No, that's not what it
is. Live or die. That's what you want.
Wait a minute. Are we having two different conversations?
I don't think we are.
I think we are, because I said, why not trade these kids for Brian Reynolds and Salvador Perez? I said that. Is anybody else out there? Is my connection slow?
Because
I said
here's the thing.
trade for Salvador Perez and Brian Reynolds.
This is what we're doing.
I actually said Lourdes Gurriel first, and I also thought about Teoscar Hernandez, but they're on different teams.
This is Mets universe. Let me fill you in. I am the one. Have y'all seen the movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio?
No.
You know seen it? Watch that movie, because I'm about to say, I am the one who put the Brian Reynolds idea in Uncle Freezy's head. And I sat back and I just let it grow on its own. But the idea came from me, because for the longest time, all through November and December, I have done nothing but pine.
Y'all want to see my hoodie Kevin?
Brian Reynolds.
Let me give you my hoodie Kev impersonation. Uncle Freezy, why we gonna sign Brandon Nimmo when we could just go trade for Brian Reynolds? And I was like, hoodie Kev, why would you trade away prospects for a guy when you can just re-sign the guy that you already have?
Because Brian Reynolds is better than Brandon Nimmo.
What did you have to give up? What did you have to give up? What did you have to give up to get Brandon Nimmo?
$160 million.
Yes, but $20 million at a time, though, right?
Yes.
No prospects, though.
No.
But you can still trade those same prospects for Brian Reynolds right now, right?
Yes, you can.
So what are we even talking about? Our Brian Reynolds debate was not that I didn't like Brian Reynolds. The Brian Reynolds debate was what I was saying. No, re-sign Brandon Nimmo because there are no center fielders on the market.
Technically, Brian Reynolds is on the market.
In theory, not technically, but in theory.
Well, he's requested a trade.
Right.
I mean, I know this isn't the NBA.
He's asked for a trade, but the Pirates never came out publicly and said he was available.
Yeah, I mean, if this was the NBA, he'd been traded by now. But it's not. That's But at the time, I was thinking that Brandon Nimmo was going to be gone, and we had to replace him. So I thought the natural replacement was going to be Brian Reynolds. But thank God for Uncle Stevie opening his wallet and saying, luxury tax. I don't care about no luxury tax.
You didn't want Brandon Nimmo. Don't even try it.
It's not that I didn't want Brandon Nimmo. I thought
he was going. I just don't like him. That's what you said.
I'm not the biggest Brandon Nimmo fan. No, I'm not.
And his name is Nimmo.
Oh, God.
Not the fish. Not the fish. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Like I said, I thought that.
But Hoodie, can these two coexist?
Hold on for 1 second.
Okay. All right. We love Hoodie Kev. We love Hoodie Kev. Hoodie Kev is a passionate Mets fan. My thing with Brian Reynolds, though, that he's referencing is I prefer, and maybe I'm crazy, y'all. Maybe I'm crazy, but I like re-signing our own productive free agents. Like, say for instance, if Francisco Lindor was a free agent this past offseason, I wouldn't be sitting here talking y'all to death about Trey Turner or other shortstops that hit the market, Dansby Swanson, or other shortstops that hit the market. I would be talking about retaining the guy that we already had. That's my MO. And it's one of the reasons why I'm kind of heartbroken that Jacob deGrom left, and that Steven Matz left, and that Noah Syndergaard left, and that Zach Wheeler left. And I know we traded Steven Matz. I understand. But I really liked Steven Matz. Right? My thing is I really like retaining our own talent. I like seeing guys come up through the ranks and staying with us, right? That's one of the reasons why. One of the reasons why I was heartbroken when the Wilpon family and their dumb self did not re-sign Jose Reyes. That's why I was frustrated when the Wilpon family chose to re-sign Kirk Nieuwenhuis to a 1-year deal and let Justin Turner leave and go to the Dodgers. It's one of the reasons why I was frustrated that they didn't re-sign Daniel Murphy. Right? Now, I know in hindsight, all those deals may not have paid, maybe except Justin Turner. I just liked Justin. I just liked everything about Justin Turner. Right? I like the fact that he looked like a Viking. I like that. I like the fact that he played hard and was always dirty. I like Justin Turner, right? I like Daniel Murphy, you know what I'm saying, always coming up clutch in clutch moments. Right? I just like that type of stuff. I'm a baseball fan. See, baseball fans are different than football fans and basketball fans. Now, I know you can be more than one at the same time, but baseball is different. Baseball is cool to have a dirty uniform, right? Baseball has like these unwritten rules that you have to adhere to. Right? I like baseball, man. I like specialists. Right? I like specialists. Like I like the crafty reliever out of the bullpen that want to slider you to death. Right? I like the fireballer out of the bullpen that has 3 pitches but only throws 1. I like that. You know what I'm saying? I like the guys in your lineup that are power hitters. I don't want Pete Alonso batting .330 with 30 home runs. I like Pete being 265 with 55 home runs. I like that.
Oh my God.
I don't want a lineup of all 300 guys hitting 20 home runs. I don't think you can win in baseball like that.
I'm pretty sure that's more productive than having a bunch of guys hitting 260 and 270.
Oh yeah? Well, how come the Colorado Rockies don't have a World Series? The Colorado Rockies had 6 dudes in their lineup at 300. You remember that team? Andres Galarraga, Dante Bichette, Ellis Burks, Vinny Castilla. Oh, gee. You remember that Rockies lineup?
And name one good pitcher they had. One. Exactly.
Okay. So what are you getting at?
I'm saying, like football, there's many different factors to baseball. It's not just one thing. You got to have offense. You got to have pitching. It's like having offense and defense.
So you're not satisfied? I'm asking in general terms. I'm not trying to pick a fight here. What I'm asking you is, you would not be satisfied with a lineup of, think about this lineup, right?
Oh Lord.
Just think about this lineup, right? Nimmo, McNeil, Lindor, Alonso, Correa, Reynolds, Salvador Perez, and a DH.
Can we have Perez just DH?
No. Salvador Perez?
Yeah.
No.
Why can't Salvador Perez just DH?
Because he might be the best. He's a top 3 defensive catcher in the American League.
Don't we have good defensive catchers already in Nido and Narvaez?
Why would you put them in a lineup?
Well, Narvaez is, as we say, an elite pitch frame.
Get out of here. Get your ass out of here. You better never say Narvaez and Salvador Perez in the same sentence. Bro, your credibility is going down. It's circling the drain every time you say Narvaez and Salvador Perez in the same breath. What has Narvaez won in anything? What personal accomplishment?
I'm gonna see something. Well, see what he's. I'm pretty sure. Listen, an elite pitch framer. I'm looking up some stats here. Let's see, because I think he's been a pretty okay catcher in his career. I know last year was kind of a down year. Came from Chicago. So he's hit 267, 277, 275, 278. It looked like a shortened season. Oh, yeah, that was in 2020. 266. So last year was his first year where he kind of struggled at the plate. Home runs, he's had 22 home runs in 19. Like 19 was his best year. He had 278, 22 home runs, 55 RBIs. Like his best year. So his best year was only a few years ago.
How did Salvador Perez look last year? In 2021? The 2021 season, how did Salvador Perez look?
I can look and see. You said 2021.
How did Salvador Perez look in 2021?
It looks like that's an outlier kind of line.
No. I know. I just want the numbers. That's all. Just the numbers.
So he hit 273 with a 554 slugging percentage, 859 OPS with 48 home runs and 121 RBIs.
From the catcher spot.
He might have been a DH that season.
No, he was a cat. Come on,
because wasn't that a year that he got hurt and DH a lot of games?
What do you have? Just the facts.
I'm saying, but I think he DH'd because ain't no way he caught 161 games at age 35. I know that didn't happen.
Salvador Perez is an Iron Man.
Even in his heyday, he wasn't catching. Ain't nobody catching 161 games. Come on now.
Right, bro. Come on. You don't want him to catch, because the thing is, the reason why he plays so many games is not because the manager is putting him in a lineup, is because he wants to play every day. The Royals manager has to fight with him every day to keep him out of the lineup.
Because the last time he's only played 150 games one other time, and that was back in 2014. And then all of a sudden, 7 years later, he plays 161. No, so I'm assuming he played a lot of those games at DH. I'm not saying he played every game at DH. I'm just going to say he played games at DH. They played 161 games. He didn't catch 161 games.
Where is this? I had a stupid commercial playing in my ear. I'm sorry. ESPN is crazy. But like what Wilson Ding says, Perez is a great veteran catcher who can still play, and he won a World Series. And you bring in up a random cat that played in a lineup with man. Listen, nah, man, come on, Honey Cap.
I'm saying that in his career, Omar Narvaez has been a pretty good offense. Now, is he Salvador Perez? No, he's not. I'm not saying that he is. What I'm saying is he's been okay. He's been able to hold his own. Right. He's not a liability at a plate like Thomas Nido is.
Right. And so you would also be okay with Mark Cannon in left field then? Based on this okay journeyman, he's been our right player logic.
What are my options?
Mark Cannon in left. It was a specific question.
Are you giving me any other options, or is that what it is? Like,
I want to win now.
I'm pretty sure you can win now with Mark Canna in left field. You won 101 games last year with Mark Canna playing in left field. So I think it can be done.
Win now, like win now and win a lot of regular season games are two different things. Win now means win World Series now, not
Mm-hmm.
win a lot of games now.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I love baseball so much. I'm eating sunflower seeds in the middle of the night.
Interesting. Um, as I was going to say, um, you can win with uh, um, Mark Canna. I mean, the Yankees won a World Series with Ricky Lede playing left field. So, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Ricky Lede. Remember him? Yankees won the World Series with him in left. You don't even remember Ricky Lede, but he was a starting left fielder
Mm-hmm.
for a championship team.
I remember Ricky Lede from the Phillies. I remember him.
You remember him winning the World Series with the Yankees?
I don't care nothing about the Yankees. This is a Mets show.
I'm just saying. So the Yankees had Bernie Williams and Tina Martinez and Paul Neal and Ricky Lede.
Yep.
So you gonna tell me the Mets can't win a World Series with Mark Canna? No.
I can't believe that you are not sold on Brian Reynolds.
Oh God. See, that's what I said. I said, what are my options? So you said there's no option. This is just what it is.
Okay. Do
Every
you want
team,
do you want to keep these
every
young kids around in AAA, or do you want to package them to go get a stud?
every team wins with players that aren't superstars. No team has as a superstar at every position. It doesn't happen. And so to sit here and say, "Oh, I wish we had," no, we can win with you know.
Not Buck Showalter.
Oh,
Don't sit here and try to tell me Buck Showalter can win with everyday Joes.
why can't he? He's a
Because he had
four-time,
because he hasn't done it
four-time
yet.
manager of the
How
year.
many World Series championships does Buck Showalter have?
None.
And he was trying to do it with everyday players.
So let me ask you a question. Because we've had this conversation. So Dusty Baker has coached pretty much or managed the same amount of time that Buck Showalter has, right?
Okay.
And didn't Dusty Baker just win his first World Series last year?
Hmm.
And he's been managing since 25, 30 years.
Yeah. He used to be Tony La Russa right hand man.
And he just won his first one. With
Okay.
all the talent that Dusty Baker has ever had in his career. And he's had some talented teams, some talented players.
Right.
And he just won his first World Series in his 22nd or 23rd season of full season managing. So let's not say that Buck Showalter can't do it if Dusty Baker, who's been managing the same exact time, just did it too.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Give Buck Showalter a star-studded lineup for the next 4 to 5 years and see what he does.
Buck Showalter raves about Mark Canna, about his clubhouse presence, his locker room leadership, his professionalism, his approach to the game. I've heard Buck Showalter talk very glowingly about Mark Canna and all the attributes that he brings.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought there was something else to go with it.
Has Mark Canna won games for the Mets? Yes, he has.
Okay. Hoodie Cav.
Won games.
Hoodie Cav. Chat.
Offensively, win games.
Chat. I'm gonna say this to the chat, and and I'm not saying this as bashing a Mets player, but Hoodie Cav. Mark Canna played in 3 playoff games with the Mets this past offseason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He had 10 at bats.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Guess how many hits he had?
3.
0.
Mm-hmm.
This dude had 0 hits in the playoffs, and you are talking about a clubhouse presence.
Yes.
Mark Canna didn't get he was a starter in a lineup with World Series expectations, and he got 0 hits in the playoffs. And this is the dude that you were trying to save.
It's not really saving or uh, not saving. A lot of our players didn't do anything in the playoffs. It wasn't just Mark Canna.
Salvador Perez won a World Series with the Royals.
Yes, he did.
And
Against these very Mets.
yep. And you know what? You know what? And here is something. I'm gonna say something that's gonna frustrate myself. When this off season start, or when the playoffs start, and we'll be looking at the Braves outfield of Ronald Acuna Jr., Michael Harris, Eddie Rosario, and Robbie Grossman, and we're talking about Mark Canna is in left, we're going to be sick to our stomachs.
Did you know that Mark Canna had a higher on base percentage than Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, Sterling Marte? It had the same on base percentage as Brandon Nemo, who's heralded for getting on base.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the same on base percentage. And we laud Brandon Nemo. Brandon Nemo gets on base. That's what he does. He gets on base. But Mark Canna gets on base just as much
You know how he was getting on
as
base?
Brandon Nemo.
You know how much? You know how he was getting on base? On
Anyway,
the weirdest, most unpredictable stat ever.
he got on base by
Hit
any
by
means
pitch.
necessary. Okay.
Hit by pitch. The most unpredictable stat ever. Hit by pitch. Now, if you're telling me that Mark Canna is going to lead the league in hit by pitch,
Hey, how many times has he done it though?
Hoodie Cap,
So hey,
it's not little
it might
league.
be a thing. He's done
It's
it twice.
bro. It's not little league.
If he's
And
if it
you're
just
not going
happened,
to go up there and tell Mark Canna,
if he
"Yo,
just
coach, what's the strategy? Hey man, take one for the team. Man, get out of here." Hoodie Cap, that's the most ridiculous thing I
no
think I've ever heard you say, bro.
no, the most ridiculous thing is if say, hey coach, how do we win the game? And I get a chalkboard and I write together on it.
David Fisdale. Yeah, the Mighty Ducks. The Mighty Ducks, bro.
That's the most ridiculous thing.
Right.
But I'm saying Mark Canna gets on base. It doesn't matter how he gets on base. It's the fact that he gets on base at a high percentage.
Right. Mark Canna has to go.
Mark Cannon was hit
I
by a
would
pitch
I would trade his contract, his cheap
20
contract,
28
with
times. He got hit by a pitch. That's taking one for the team. 28 times.
right.
That's unselfishness.
Now, what's crazy is you thought that I wouldn't know that. I know that.
I'm just saying that's unselfishness.
You thought I was gonna think that 28 times Mark Canna worked that pitcher to death and made him throw. And he worked the pitcher. No, he didn't. He accidentally got hit by the baseball.
So also, Mark Canna doesn't strike out a lot. He makes
Right.
a lot of contact. He struck out under 100 times.
No, that okay.
He struck out the same amount of times as Sterling Marte, who almost
Mark
batted
Canna doesn't
300.
swing at a lot of pitches. Mark Canna doesn't swing at a lot of pitches.
He helps listen, think about this. So Mark Canna knows how to work the count, right? He is doing the team a favor by getting the opposing pitcher's pitch count up. So the pitcher's gonna have pitched 7, 8, 9 pitches just to Mark Canna alone every single time. So 2 at bats, that's 15, 16 pitches for one player. That adds up. Because last year our strategy was to wear down pitching.
Right.
Now I didn't come up with that strategy. That's what Billy Epler said. Hey, we just get a team that works pitch counts and we can, feast on bullpen pitching. That's why if you watched all the games last year, the Mets scored a bunch of runs after the 6th inning. Like they didn't score a lot the first 6 innings.
Okay. Hoodie Cav is losing it. Hoodie Cav is losing it. Hoodie Cav legit is talking about a 7-hole hitter getting on base for a 8-hole hitter.
Hey, it's not his fault he bats so low in the lineup.
Yes, it is.
Bump him up. I've seen Mark Canna bat 5th.
For who? The Oakland A's?
No, the New York Mets.
It must be, one of them days where everybody is off.
It doesn't matter. He was in the 5th hole. I got to find something right quick.
He is not that type of guy. Mark Canna is not that type of guy. And everybody, listen, what I would say, what I'm saying about the upgrading, going out and getting an everyday stud in the outfield for Marte and Nemo. Yeah, I know these guys are going to come into the season healthy. I know that, right? But what I'm saying is go get like for instance, Mark Canna would be perfect if he was a 4th outfielder for this team. I'm looking at the Braves outfield of Harris Jr. and Acuna. And I just want to look at the Phillies outfield right quick, too. Looking at the Phillies outfield of Nick Castellanos and Bryce Harper, kinda, and Kyle Schwarber. Yeah. I think we have to upgrade out there. Yeah. I don't believe in the creating content thing. I believe in having like real conversations I believe in the real conversation aspect of it. I would love to see the Mets upgrade in left field and at DH.
Oh, Uncle Freeze, Uncle Freeze, Uncle Freezy.
So what do you want to do really? Do you want to try to play the kids?
What? No, I want a ring.
So what's the plan for the kids?
I mean, if they got to go, they got to go. For who? I don't know yet. I don't know how the trade market is going to work out. Right now, the only thing that's on the stove is the Correa deal, and I'm pretty sure after that gets done, hopefully tomorrow or Tuesday, maybe Wednesday at latest. I'm hoping it's tomorrow or Tuesday we get some kind of resolution to this. Then we can move forward and see what options are
Hey,
available.
if things get dicey, would you be okay at looking at an alternative for Carlos Correa?
I honestly don't. I honestly think that it's going to work out. He's going to be a Met. Like anything else is just nonsense. Like at this point in time, it's come too far between him and the Mets for really either side to back out. And so I just think, like I said, I really just think it's more logistics than anything else at this
Now,
point of
I think
holding
it
things
comes down.
up.
I think it comes down to as simple as this. It comes to proration of the insurance money. If Carlos Correa can't play, he wants 100% of all the money that was stated in the contract. The insurance company, and for those that know insurance and all that stuff, they know that they're not going to give you 100% of anything if you're not able to perform. It's like when you get laid off, you don't get the same amount as your check. You know what I'm saying? If you get laid off, like say you're making $1,000 a week, when you get laid off, they're trying to pay you $650 a week, maybe less, right? And Carlos Correa wants that to be 100%. The Mets don't care either way. They just want to make sure that they get protected, that they don't get left holding the bag. Like if Carlos Correa can't play in year 10, 11, 12, right? Why do the Mets have to pay him $30 million a year, $90 million when he's not going to play? Carlos Correa says, I'm absolutely going to play, right? But there is no certainty there. So the Mets just want to put that in the contract like, listen, we know you want to play and we want you to play at a high level. We want you to be productive for 12 years. But this medical report says that odds are stacked against you. Right? We want you, you want us, we want you to be productive, right? But we can't pay $90 million to a player that's not going to play. We already been down this road before. We went down this road with Cespedes. We went down this road with David Wright. Right? A lot of, I think I saw a stat, and y'all, and listen, this is why owners don't entertain like the big contract idea. Because I saw a video on YouTube that stated 40% of a team's salary goes to dudes that are hurt and that are not even playing. Hoodie Kev, 40% of the dollars that your owner spends on salary goes to dudes that are either hurt or not playing for one reason or another.
We haven't played it. We're playing a guy that hasn't played for us in 25 years.
Right.
And he still gets a check.
Right. Right. And it's going to boggle your mind when we talk about the Edwin Diaz contract. The Edwin Diaz contract has so much
Deferred money.
deferred money that we're going to be paying Edwin Diaz into his 50s and 60s. But so what? It's Edwin Diaz.
The point is, this isn't Xbox or PlayStation where you can just ignore the trade rules and play with an all-star team. You need players like Mark Canna. Mark Canna balances things out. You need players like Omar Narvaez because they balance things out. You need the Thomas Nitos. You need the the Drew Smiths. You need the Cookie Carrascos. They balance things out. Do I want Brian Reynolds? Of course, I would love Brian Reynolds. You don't understand. I would love to have an outfit of Marte, Nemo,
Right.
and Reynolds. Do I think we're going to get Brian Reynolds? Probably not. Because mind you, when Nationals tried to trade for, when the Mariners tried to trade for Brian Reynolds last year, the trade package. Wait a minute, I think I'm saying this wrong. Yes, the trade package started with Julio Rodriguez.
And Brian Reynolds is still a Pirate.
And Brian Reynolds is still a Pirate. Now, we all know from the Pirates' history with their outfielders that is going to come to an end pretty soon, anyways.
Yep.
Because the Pirates don't keep anybody.
They don't keep the Andy Van Slykes. They don't keep the Bobby Bonillas. They don't keep the Barry Bonds. Right? They don't keep anybody basically.
No.
They don't keep the Gregor Polancos, the Andrew McCutchens, the Starling Martes. They just don't.
No. And so will there be other teams that makes offers to him? Maybe the Dodgers, because I don't know how the Dodgers keep ending up all this top prospects and all this money. I just don't understand for the life of me how they keep doing it.
They're in a major market with a lot of spending power,
But it's like
coexisting with another team.
it just makes it seem like the Dodgers when people make a fuss when we spend money, but the Dodgers just get all-star after all-star after all-star, and no one ever says anything. No, that's just the Dodgers. They just got a player that didn't like when they got Trevor Bauer. They didn't need Trevor Bauer. They just went out and got Trevor Bauer just because they wanted to get Trevor Bauer. It kind of backfired on him, but
right. You didn't know he was a sociopath though.
No, I don't think that would check out. I don't think that box would check out when they do their backgrounds.
We need Trevor Bauer right now.
We do not need Trevor Bauer right now. We have 7 starting pitchers.
And 4 of them are not better than Trevor Bauer.
We don't know that. Maybe 3?
4.
I got McGill, Peterson, Cookie.
And Budo.
He's not.
Jose Budo.
He's definitely even on a 40-man roster right now.
Jose Budo is going to be a Met.
Jose Budo's not even on a 40-man roster right now.
Okay.
So, definitely don't need Trevor Bauer.
Okay.
At all.
Right.
Are happy with our. If we went into this entire season with Verlander, Scherzer, Senga, Quintana, and Carrasco, with McGill and Peterson spot starting throughout the season.
And Budo, yep.
Definitely not Budo's nowhere in this equation at all. I think we'd be okay. I think we'd be just fine.
Okay, and just fine, or championship contenders.
Championship contenders. Because when the postseason rolls around, you're going to have Verlander, Scherzer, Senga.
That's it.
Maybe Quintana makes a start, like in the divisional round or something, or the NLCS, or yeah, maybe he might get 2 starts, just because you don't want to maybe rush back a 40-year-old and a 38-year-old, on short rest. I'm just saying, he might get a start or 2.
These dudes are World Series champions, right?
I believe they each, Verlander and Scherzer?
Yes.
Yes, they each have World Series rings.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Verlander actually just got another one this past season.
Right. So the question would be, is Trevor Bauer a better pitcher than Quintana and Cookie Carrasco?
Is he better than Quintana right now? No, because Quintana pitched, and Trevor Bauer hasn't pitched in like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know what kind of pitcher Trevor Bauer might be right now.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. I'm going to look at Trevor Bauer's advance. Look at Trevor Bauer's spin rate.
That spin rate is 2 years old.
Right.
So I got a question, and I've been trying to think about this because pitchers and catchers are due in like 34 days.
Yep.
Who is on the mound game 1? Is it Verlander or is it Scherzer?
You got to go with Scherzer.
Do you got to go with Scherzer? Because is Justin Verlander a better pitcher than Max Scherzer is?
I'm not sure.
Because I think Max Scherzer is one of the biggest dogs in baseball, right? He's a dog. Verlander has that dog in him, but he's still a really, really, really good. I mean, I'm not saying that Max Scherzer's not a really, really, really good pitcher either. But it's like, is Verlander just that much better than Max Scherzer?
Okay.
Is he?
Okay.
I mean, they're both making $43 million.
Right.
Verlander is coming off a Cy Young award.
Okay.
He is the prize. The prize. Max Scherzer already after 1 year is Woody, and Verlander is Buzz Lightyear. So who do you want to play with? Do you want to play with Buzz Lightyear, or do you want to play with Woody?
Here's my thing.
JJ, that's a very good question.
What I would say is Kodai Senga is a lot closer than those two than what you think.
Kodai Senga is not going to be pitching on day 1.
No, he won't. No, he won't. No, he won't.
He won't even be pitching on day 2 for the New York Mets.
Nope.
He might pitch on day 3.
What I'm saying is long term. And what I mean long term is by the All-Star break, I think we'll know that Senga is better than both of these two.
Better?
Better.
You do realize that Justin Verlander just like the polish is still on the Cy Young Award.
Right.
It's still got a lot of shine to it.
did you see what Kodai Senga did to Major League pitching in the World Baseball Classic?
Did I see what Justin Verlander did last year against
Right.
Major League pitching, Major League hitters throughout an entire season?
What you're missing,
26 starts. Did I see that? Yes, I did.
what you're missing is that in the World Baseball Classic, every country stacks their lineup with their best players.
Are we really talking about am I really worried about Australia's best? Am I really worried about Poland's best? Am I really worried about France's best?
What about the United States? Remember his game?
That's like one team.
You remember the game?
Am I worried about the Yankees lineup? Am I worried about the Minnesota Twins lineup? Am I worried about the Texas Rangers lineup, the Blue Jays lineup, the Tampa Bay Rays lineup, the Cleveland lineup? Or am I worried about Poland and Australia and Germany?
Okay.
And Italy.
Oh, okay. Since we naming countries, am I really worried about the Dominican Republic's lineup? Am I really worried about Puerto Rico's lineup? Am I really worried about Cuba's lineup? I mean, you went there. Am I really worried about Venezuela's lineup? Please say no so that I can make myself laugh. Right? Because what you failed to mention is there are World Baseball Classic qualifiers. Yes. In those countries that you mentioned, they don't even get through the qualifiers. Right? They don't even get through the qualifiers, bro. What we're talking about is Team USA versus Team Puerto Rico, who have the right side of the or the left side of the infield that you covet.
They do, yes.
Right? Am I worried about Kodai Senga versus Francisco Lindor and Carlos Correa? Now you see my point, right?
Am I worried about Justin Verlander going up against Aaron Judge and Carlos Stanton, Matt Carpenter?
No. How about beat the Braves first?
Gleyber Torres.
How about beat the Phillies?
No, I'm talking about last year. What he had to fix last.
I'm talking about now. How about because we can't go by last year, bro. All we can go by is.
Well, you're trying to go by something that happened 2-3 years ago.
Because that's all the tape that we have.
And the tape that I have is last year when Justin Verlander just won the Cy Young Award going against these teams.
Okay, good point. Good point. I think you're right. Good point. Right?
Well, he just was the best pitcher in baseball. Or at least the American League, excuse me.
Okay. All right. I'm with you. So I gotta wrap up here in a few minutes so that I can do some preparation for vibes and stuff, right? But I want to ask you, if there is one move to make outside of Correa, what move is that you're doing?
Well, if you would have asked me this 8 hours ago, I would have said getting Liam Hendriks and Eloy Jimenez.
Right.
But with all the breaking news, and our hearts go out to Mr. Liam Hendriks, that probably won't be a move that we're going to make anytime soon.
Right.
And if you go back and check the tape, I'm pretty sure by the time this goes on, you'll realize that Liam Hendriks has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and is starting chemotherapy. And I guess our prayers and thoughts are with him from Mets Universe.
Right.
Maybe we can still swing a trade for Eloy Jimenez by himself. Maybe that. Because DH to me is the last negative hole that we have. And I'm saying this.
You maybe should have went out and got JD Martinez.
Well, folks, in case I don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Wow, that was odd.
Because Uncle Freezy knows for about 3 weeks, I've banged on the table and really, really wanted JD Martinez. I was the one who called him and said, Uncle Freezy, can you believe that JD Martinez signed with the Dodgers for 1 year, $10 million? If we don't have $10 million, we would have gave JD Martinez. So that's why I said, do the Dodgers even
No,
need JD Martinez? They
no,
don't.
we didn't because we gave it to a fat catcher that can't hit.
Thomas Nito?
What about the Wombats? The Mets made their choice, bro.
Obviously not. Obviously, we still have money in the bank because we're about to give $30 million to Carlos Correa, maybe tomorrow.
But here's the thing: why the JD Martinez thing didn't make sense before Correa. It makes sense now that we have Correa in the bag. Before, I didn't know if it made sense. If you're not win now, then why go get JD Martinez?
Why would the Mets not win now before they got the Correa thing? The Mets will always win now. If they wouldn't win now, they wouldn't have gave Verlander $43 million. They wouldn't have gave Scherzer $43 million. They wouldn't have re-signed Brandon Nimmo to a $162 million deal if they weren't win now.
No, here's the thing, Kevin, and I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. I don't know if you'll be free tomorrow or not. But how do you not give Jacob deGrom the money that he wanted because you were worried about injuries, but now you're talking about giving Carlos Correa the money regardless of injuries?
It's not. If it was regardless of injuries, he would have signed 2 weeks ago. So clearly, it's not regardless of injury.
Yeah, no, the insurance protection. Insurance protection.
As the reports say, I don't think that Jacob deGrom gave, not even the Mets, he didn't give Steve Cohen a chance to match. See, Steve Cohen personally negotiated a Carlos Correa deal off the gate. It wasn't Billy Epler. That was all. Scott Boras called Steve Cohen's cell phone
Okay.
in the middle of the night. Steve Cohen was in a hotel room in Hawaii.
Okay.
Had Steve Cohen just gave Jacob deGrom gave Steve Cohen a chance, he might still be a Met. I don't know.
See, the thing is, you could have signed Jacob deGrom to an extension before last season. Right? And the Mets prioritized Nimmo and deGrom together instead of focusing on just deGrom. And I think that offended Jacob deGrom.
I mean, as of right now, we should be working on extensions for Pete and Jeff,
Right.
and we haven't even started that yet.
Right. And Starling Marte, right? Marte has what, 2 years left?
3.
3 years left. Oh, never mind. Never mind. All right, boss. I'm gonna get out of here. Do vibes and stuff in the morning. At 8 o'clock, it'll be me and Chuck. And then we'll do the next morning drive for a couple of hours. And then I'll start, and then I'll go to work. I want to do all Met stuff right after that, but I don't know if I can. We'll try to figure something out.
I will probably be on the road tomorrow afternoon or late tomorrow morning.
The road to perdition.
Or just Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Um, Yes. So
All right, everybody. We're gonna get out of here. Thank y'all for rocking with us this late night talking Mets. Appreciate everybody that watched us on the thing. Man, we'll ask for you to subscribe so that you can be aware when we jump on and have these Mets conversations. Later, y'all. Peace.